بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قد أفلح المؤمنون الذين هم في صلاتهم خاشعون والذين هم عن اللغو معرضون. I shall cause thy message to reach the corners of the earth. Voice of Islam.
أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين.
I hope and pray that for this new year that everyone is doing well. As you know, before I start any program, what I usually do is share the said link to all of those who would be interested in said program. So please do like and share the program with as much people as you can, so that as much people as possible can be able to actually benefit from said program. Now, today what I wanted to speak about was somewhat of a very special story. I wanted to share a story with you. What's it called? Well, I found it on the website Review of Religions. So it's written by the research was done by Zafir Malik of the UK, and he titled this this article and the quote says, "Faithful until the very end, a story of love, separation, and tragedy." As you all know, or let me just let everyone know that Muslims do not celebrate Valentine's Day. But just because everyone is in the spirit of this spreading of love, I wanted everyone to understand that we as Muslims, we also do show love, and what we do is we do not do it on just one day, but we do it throughout the days of our lives, for our specific partner, or for our mother or father, or friends, or even neighbors. So this is what we do as Muslims, and so I wanted to share this story with you, so that you can understand that not only does Islam highlight the beauty of the actions of the male companions, but also the female companions. And even today I'll be speaking of the daughter of the Holy Prophet. So let's just get into it. As I said, the stories of devotion, loyalty, and faith. It's a beautiful account of how true love triumphs despite all adversity. This is the story of Hazrat Zainab, radiallahu anha, and her marriage, and how she endured all hardships for the sake of Allah's religion and Allah's messenger. Hazrat Zainab was the eldest daughter of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين.
Abul As bin Rabbi. So I guess because you can't hear me. Jazakallah, sister. I will see if I can take that off. All right. And so she was married to Hadrat Abul As bin Rabbi, who was the son of Hadrat Khadija's sister, Hala. So basically that was her cousin. And back in those days, and even up to this day, cousins are eligible to marry other cousins. All right. And two, for the dowry, Hadrat Khadija gave her daughter a precious Yemeni necklace. And also regarding this necklace is very important in the said story that I'm going to tell you. So Abul As bin Rabi belonged to the Banu Abd Shams tribe of the Quraysh and was a skillful trader. Despite not initially becoming a Muslim, he was known among the Quraysh for his honesty and truthfulness. It was perhaps these very qualities that enabled him to accept the light of Islam, and the manner of which he did so bears testimony to how much of a truthful and honest person he was. When the Holy Prophet ﷺ announced that he was the prophet sent by God, at the time Abul As was away on a business trip. Hazrat Zainab immediately accepted his mission. So Hazrat Zainab immediately accepted the Holy Prophet ﷺ and became a Muslim. While Abul As was on a trip, he heard about the claim and confirmed it upon arrival in Mecca. Hazrat Zainab informed him that she had accepted Islam. Um, but Abul asked, "O Zainab, did you not consider what would happen if I did not accept Islam, or if I did not accept the claim of the Holy Prophet?" ﷺ?" And filled with the light of faith and unwavering love for her father, Hazrat Zainab replied, "How could I reject my father, who is truthful and trustworthy?" She said, "Who is Siddiq, truthful, and Amin, trustworthy. By God, he has spoken the truth. Besides, my mother, sisters, Ali bin Abi Talib, Abu Bakr, Usman from your own tribe, and your cousin Zubair have all become Muslim. I believe that you will not reject my father's claim of his prophethood." Abul As replied, "I have no doubts about your father, nor do I claim him to be a liar. In fact, nothing would please me more than to adopt your faith alongside you. But I fear that my people will rebuke me, saying that I have abandoned the religion of my ancestors for the sake of my wife." So this was a thing of contention between them. So of course, Abu As was very much, um, uh, he knew of the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, being a very truthful person, but he was somewhat afraid of his people and how they would treat him, because his wife accepted before him, and so he was just following his wife. So it sounds like something like a Belizean man would tell his friend here, like, why you accept this? Why did you accept this? Accept what your wife do? She never asked for your permission and all of these things. So this was the same concept back in the days of Islam, that they believed that, oh, the man is first, the man is this, the man is that, right? So, although Abul As did not accept Islam at that time, he remained faithful to his wife and stood by her despite Meccan persecution. And this is the thing about about how would I say, premarital relations right now. In Islam, we do not promote premarital relations. We get married, and so what it does is that it solidifies the relationship. And so what most people are struggling with right now is thinking that in a relationship there will not be problems, and rather than face these problems together, they make these problems separate them. And so once you are married and you're legally binded, you will have more, how would I say, you would have more, there's a word for it, you would have more want. I would just say you would desire sorry, incentive. You would have more incentive to fight through these problems together. But because you only have a small bond of saying that yes, I like you, and yes, you like me, it does not allow you to want to fight for the relationship. And even those who are married up to this day, they're still allowing themselves to have the marriage fall apart, because instead of marrying each other with the intent of doing it for the sake of God Almighty, for doing it for the sake of um, wanting to truly work out these problems, they rather just love each other for the sake of, if this person has enough money, if this person looks beautiful. The Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, has said that the most important part of seeking in a partner is the righteousness. And so, if you find someone that is righteous, then it will definitely help you to say that this person will continuously be with you, because that person will be truthful to God. That person will be truthful to you. And if that person has a good relationship with God Almighty, then and of course that person will treat you with love, honesty, and loyalty. And so this is what Abu As and Hazrat Zainab were going through. They were going through persecution because they accepted Islam. However, Abu As did not leave his wife to be persecuted on her own. He stuck by her through this persecution. At the time of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, at the time the Holy Prophet ﷺ made his claim, his other two daughters, Hadrat Ruqayya and Hadrat Kulthum, were engaged to the two sons of Abu Lahab. Abu Lahab was a very, very astute, or a very strong opponent of the Holy Prophet ﷺ. And owing to his enmity, so this Abu Lahab had a lot of enmity and hostility toward the Holy Prophet ﷺ. Abu Lahab forced his sons to break off the engagement with the aim of causing the Holy Prophet ﷺ pain, because when you divorce a woman, it's very hard for you to remarry back in those days. The Meccans did the same with Abu As. They went to him and said, "Divorce your wife and send her home. We will then marry you to the most charming and noble woman from all of the tribe, of all of Quraysh." But Abu As said, "No, by God, I will not divorce her, and I would not forsake her for any woman in the world." And this is such a wonderful thing. As I said, it's very true, Sister Khadija. Marriages are falling apart because men and women are marrying for the sake of pleasure. And that is very true. And so this Abu As, he was offered the most beautiful woman, the most charming and noble woman of all of the tribe, all of Quraysh, and he refused, because he knew that this person that he had, Hadrat Zainab, was a person of worth, a person of righteousness. He did not care of your nobility, of the wealth that your family had, or he did not care about the charm of the woman, the beauty of the woman. He only cared of the heart. And that is the most important part of when you get married and you find someone. That is the most important part. So he did not forsake his wife, and he said that I would not forsake his, he said he would not forsake his wife for any woman in the world. And that is the sort of dedication we as men in this time must have for our wife. So after the continued persecution by the people of Mecca, the Holy Prophet ﷺ was commanded by God Almighty to migrate. And so the Muslims began leaving Mecca and headed to Medina. Just imagine what Hadrat Zainab would be feeling at this point. Her fathers, her sisters, and her fellow Muslims were leaving, and she would have to stay among the very people that drove them out. So she had to stay in Mecca. She could not leave with her father and other Muslims and her family. But this separation did not last long. 2 years after the migration, Muslims were forced to defend themselves in the famous Battle of Badr. The Muslims were victorious and took captives back to Medina. Among the captives were Abu As bin Rabi. Again, it would be hard to imagine what was going through Hadrat Zainab's mind. On the one hand, she would feel a sense of relief and joy that her father was alive and her fellow Muslims were granted victory. But on the other hand, her husband was now in captivity. Staying faithful to her husband, she immediately sent ransom. She immediately sent something so that she could purchase her husband out of captivity. She sent the very same Yemeni necklace her mother gave her. And at that time, her mother had already passed away. And when the Holy Prophet ﷺ saw this, tears flowed from his eyes. He turned to his companions and said, "If you agree, return these items, the necklace, to my daughter Zainab." The companions needed only a hint from the Holy Prophet ﷺ, and the Holy Prophet ﷺ then sent Abu As free on the condition that he send Zainab to Medina. So this was the love that the husband showed his wife, and this was the show of love that she had for her husband. She sent her late mother's necklace that was very precious to her, and she gave it without question that I want my husband back. Though he was fighting against against her father and her truth and her religion, she still had very much a strong love for Hadrat Abu As. All right, and so the condition was that they must send um, Hadrat Zainab to Medina, and then Abu As can live in Mecca. So Abu As fulfilled his promise. He organized for Hadrat Zainab to travel to Medina. However, some Meccans tried to stop her from going, and the wretched man named Habar bin Aswad attacked her camel with a spear. The straps of the camel saddle were cut and she fell to the ground. The shock and trauma resulted in a miscarriage of her baby, and it would be these deep injuries that would lead to her demise. So she died because of this accident. Hazrat Zainab and Abul As would not see each other for the next 4 years. Alone in Mecca, Abul As would think of no one other than his companion, his wife, whom he loved dearly. In an expression of this love, one day, while on a trip to Syria, he even wrote a poem to Hadrat Zainab. He wrote this poem. It says, "I remember Zainab when she leaned on the waymark. I said to a person who lived in the haram, 'Water for the daughter of the trustworthy, may Allah reward her. Virtuous she is, and every husband praises what he knows.'" So this was a very beautiful poem that he wrote for his love for Zainab. So neither Zainab nor Abul As would marry in the time they were apart. And as destiny, they both did not like remarry for this 4 years that they were apart. And as destiny would have it, they were reunited once again. 6 years after the migration to Medina in Jumada al-Ula. So I wanted to say this: who do you think would wait 4 years for you? Like as a person, just to think about it. If you're not in a relationship right now, do you think that someone would wait for you 4 years? Even if you ask your partner, would you think that that person would wait for you 4 years? And if you don't feel like that person will wait for you 4 years, then is it truly that that person would sacrifice anything for you? And the biggest thing is that you must be able to sacrifice for them as well. You cannot expect that someone should just you should sacrifice for you, and you're not willing to sacrifice for them. So that is a very important part of being in a relationship, in a marriage. So they waited 4 years for each other, and 6 years after the migration to Medina, in a place called Jumada al-Ula, Abul As was returning from Syria with a trade caravan of the Quraysh. Since the Muslims were in a state of war with the tribe of Quraysh, the Holy Prophet ﷺ sent a contingent or a group of men under the command of Zayd bin Harithan to intercept the caravan that was led by Abul As. They reached the caravan at a place called Is, which was a distant was a di- what was at a distance of 4 days' travel from Medina. They took the wealth of the caravan and brought the prisoners to Medina. A lot of historians differ as to whether Abul As was among those captured, or whether he headed to Medina when he saw the Muslims advancing. But what is certain is that Abul As reached Medina um, late at night. So he reached Medina late at night and somehow managed to send word to Hazrat Zainab to help him in his situation. And so, just as the Holy Prophet ﷺ began the morning prayers, Hazrat Zainab said in a loud voice, "O ye Muslims, I have granted Abul As protection." Astonished by this, when the Holy Prophet ﷺ finished the prayers, he turned to the companions and asked if they too heard what he did. So he asked, "Did you hear what I heard?" They replied in yes. The Holy Prophet ﷺ then said, "By God, I had no prior knowledge of this, but the community of believers is like a single soul. If one of them grants protection to an infidel, to honor it is a must." So Hadrat Zainab then asked if the possessions taken from the caravan would be returned to Abul as he was entrusted with the wealth by the Meccans. At this, the Holy Prophet ﷺ gathered the people and said, "You know Abul As is my relative. If you choose to favor him by returning his possessions, it will make me happy. If, however, you do not agree, then the goods are your spoils, and and it is allowed by God, and you have a right over it." This is the beauty of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, that he was not a dictator. He would give them the option. It would make me happier if you would do this, but it is your right to take the bounty if you would like. So he was not a dictator. He always let everyone make a decision as well, but he will always make the option available, and that was a very beautiful thing of the Holy Prophet ﷺ. So when the companions um, the companions understood the wish of their master and were very ready to fulfill his commands. They returned everything taken from the caravan to Abul As, who then left for Mecca. And this is the beauty of Islam. The Muslims were always ready to obey. Sami'atna wa ata'na, they said. We hear and we obey. Though they may have been going through some struggles financially because it was a time of war, they had a right to take the bounty. But because the Holy Prophet said that he would be happy if you would do this, they wanted to obey the Holy Prophet. And some of these people were starving. Some of these people didn't know what the next day would come, what food would come for the next day. And this is the height of obedience and love that the people had for the Holy Prophet. And this person was an infidel. Is what he was, a person that he did not he probably did not deserve any of this because he fought against them in a war as well already. But because, as again, they had such love for the Holy Prophet ﷺ, this is what they did. So in continuation, it says, when Abul As reached Mecca, he returned all the possessions to their owners. When he had cleared all his debts, he gathered all the Quraysh and asked if he owed anything to anyone. The Quraysh replied, "Indeed, no, we have no claim concerning you. May God reward you in an excellent manner. You are indeed an honorable and generous person." Upon hearing this, Abul As loudly proclaimed, "Since I have now handed over to you what is rightfully yours, I now declare that there is no God but Allah, and that Muhammad (SAW) is the messenger of Allah. By God, the only thing that prevented me from declaring my acceptance of Islam while I was with Muhammad (SAW) in Medina was my fear that you would think that I did so only to acquire your wealth." So the only the only reason he did not accept Islam when he was in Medina, the Prophet Muhammad (SAW) was because he did not want them to think that he wanted their wealth. That is such an amazing thing. And now he said that now that I have discharged and given you all that is for you, I now declare that I am Muslim. And this is the truthfulness that we, especially as if you're dealing with business, that you should have this thought in your mind that you must be very truthful, because every single thing, and you would not want your hands to be the one that leads you to fire. So you should be very truthful and trustworthy in all the dealings that you do. So this incident highlights the lofty character or the high character of Hadra Abul As, and how he lived up to not only his own title of trustworthy, but also demonstrated that he was worthy to be the son in law of Al Amin, the most trustworthy, the Holy Prophet. The Holy Prophet always held him in high regard. He once said about Abul As, the Holy Prophet said once about Abul As, I married one of my daughters to Abul As bin Rabbi before Islam, and he proved truthful in whatever he said to me. Whenever he spoke to me, he spoke the truth. And whenever he made a promise, he fulfilled his promise. So Abul As returned to Medina in Muharram 7 AH. That's that is 7 years after the migration from Mecca to Medina. And after a separation of nearly 6 years, he and Hazrat Zainab were reunited. So they were separated for 6 years and they never did remarry. And they showed loyalty and love to one another throughout these 6 years. That is an amazing feat. However, this reunion was short-lived, as the following year, Hazrat Zainab passed away owing to the injuries she had suffered during the migration. As I said before, when she was migrating from Mecca to Medina, this Meccan threw a spear at the camel, and the strap got loose and she fell because she was pregnant at that time. And she fell and got a miscarriage. And for those 6 years, she had health issues. And on the 7th year, she died due to those injuries. And so they only had about a year after the reunion, and Abul As lost Hadrat Zainab. The Holy Prophet ﷺ loved Hadrat Zainab dearly, and while lowering her into the grave, he prayed, O Allah, ease the suffering of Zainab and make the confined space of the grave spacious for her. So this was authored by Zafir Malik on the Review of Religions. And as I said before, this is a wonderful story of how we as Muslims should show our love to one another. Do not believe that just because you are Muslim, that means that you should not show love to your partner. I mean, we do not do public display of affections. But the promised Messiah, alayhi salam, there was one time he was walking with his wife, waiting for the train, and he was holding her hand. And they asked him, "Why are you doing this?" And he said that, "Why shouldn't I? This is my wife." You should show appreciation and love for your wife, and the same goes for the wives. You should show appreciation and love for your husband. Would you spend 6 years waiting for him, even though that he did not accept your religion, but he still shows you respect? And this is the thing, within this relationship, it wasn't that one was showing appreciation and the other wasn't. Both of them were showing appreciation for one another. And this is the balance and the need of the time, that regardless if you're Muslim or whatever religious denomination you are part of, you should both show affection for one another. You should both show loyalty to one another. And this is the way how your relationship will thrive. As a husband, or whichever relationship you are in, show loyalty to your wife, just as Abu As was did when they offered him a wife that had charm, and she was of a nobility. He said, "No, I will not divorce my wife. I will stay with my wife," because he said that my wife is special to him, and she was special not because he said, "Oh, she's beautiful," but even in his poem, just to look back at what he said in his poem, he said that she was trustworthy and virtuous. In that last verse, he said, "Virtuous she is, and every husband praises what he knows." And so you should choose your wife, or choose the person that is virtuous, one that is trustworthy. That is the most important part of the character that we must select for our wife. So it may be the month of love for the world, but in Islam, we do not have a month of love. We have a life of love. And so when you have that partner, when you have that person that is with you, you should do your best to show that love. And the Holy Prophet ﷺ has said that a true Muslim is one that is kind to their spouse. A Muslim man is the one that is kind to their spouse. In the Holy Quran, it says that that we are that the spouses are like a garment for each other, and a garment keeps you cool. It protects you. It protects you. So this is the way that we should treat our spouses. This is the way that we should act. And so I want to thank you all for your time and your your um your viewership, if for lack of a better word. And if there's any question that you would like to know, please do ask. You can message us on our page, or you can just write it in the comments. We are always available for you. In the future, what we are trying to do, as you can see, I've been two days in a row, Sunday and Monday, I put up videos, and so we are trying to do a different scheduling in which what we will try to make it more consistent. And so if we want to be consistent, we might not know what exactly you would like to watch, but if you give us suggestions on what you would like to know about, then we would definitely be able to, you know, how would I say, we would definitely be able to help you understand that subject that you don't have much understanding of. But thank you so much, Asad Shah, Brother Asad Shah from Trinidad, I believe, Sister Khadija and Sister Alina. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I do hope and pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses you all and continues to bless each and every one of us in this life and inshallah in the next. This has been another episode of Voice of Islam. You can contact our new president, Murabi Arslan Sahib, on 615-2651. I think that is right. Let's just wait and see if the thing that is going there is down. If yeah, contact please 615-2651. Yes, I'm correct. Alhamdulillah. And then you can contact me in Bamapan at 614-8822. And Assalamu alaikum, Brother Darren. Thank you so much for tuning in as well. Please, you said that you tuned in late, Asad Sahib. What you can do is when I finish, you can look it over again. It's a very beautiful story. I do recommend that anyone take a listen, or even go on Review of Religions and read it themselves. So you can contact us again, or you can visit us at a mile and a half George Price Highway in Belize City, or number 6 Citron Street in Belmopan. So once again, thank you so much for your time. May Allah bless you all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon you all.